house. Wow. Snow's pretty drifted there, even inside the screen. Look at that. Oh. Yeah. Okay, whew. Cold out there. It is blowing. It is about 9 o'clock in the morning. It's been ripping all morning. The wind woke me up about 6 this morning because it was blowing so hard. It's blowing out of the east, which is some of the worst wind we can have here in the valley. Just kind of crazy. It's 16 degrees outside now. It was colder this morning, obviously. And, you know, the wind chill is -4 is what the weather, local weather's saying. So it's pretty cold out there. And the temperature in here is 48. So hopefully that's coming out in the camera. Yeah, and that's at this level. So, you know, I just want to update you guys. It's been a couple years that we've been using this over winter, and it's worked well each winter. I did make a couple of changes from last winter, whereas last winter we closed up this cooling tube. We insulated it here. We insulated on the back side of the cooling tube as well on the outside, so no cold air could come up the cooling tube at all. We also put insulation on these vents on the ends, up on each end. So we take the vent off, put insulation in, styrofoam insulation, and seal it, and then put the vent back on. So basically no hot air could leak out. Same thing here. This year I've elected to leave the vents open, and so those vents have been, there's no styrofoam behind them, so they can operate. And so when it does get up, you know, 85 is the trigger roughly. When it does get up to 85, they do open and allow circulation, air to circulate through here, which is nice. We did leave the cooling tube just insulated on, we just have insulation right here, and it's just a real thin insulation panel. That right there, it's only like a ½ or inch of insulation, probably ½ inch, and I didn't insulate the outside of it, so there is cold air coming up the cooling tube. And so these changes, you know, the temperature could probably be, if, you know, 5-10 degrees warmer in here if I'd sealed everything up, and it might even be warmer than that. But I wanted to see how the plants will do with these vents operating, because I think it does need some circulation in the winter, some air circulation even in the winter. That's good for the plants. So, you know, when the sun's shining in and it's heating it up, and it's, you know, 90 degrees at this level right here, this is reading 90 even in the dead of winter, December, January, when it's below freezing outside. It's still getting plenty warm in the day, heating up the thermal mass, the tire bales in the back, the floor, the dirt here, the wall here, the pea gravel on the bottom. It's heating all that up, and then overnight, of course, it keeps it warmer. Now with these vents opening, it's staying a bit cooler, but the plants still seem to be doing well. You know, the fig tree she planted a while back is pretty tall right now. I'm going to say it's over 4 feet tall, and it does have a fig on it somewhere. There's the fig right there. So that's kind of cool, you know, just to see that this is working. The kale, the Swiss chard, this is all great stuff for salads year round, obviously, but it's so nice to come out here in the winter and cut fresh greens and have those for dinner. The tomato, she's ripped out a bunch of plants here just recently and planted some zucchini here, so this hopefully will grow zucchini for us. We've grown zucchini here in the past, down here and in the garden barrel, which we didn't move in this winter. We've grown zucchini in here and it works really well. The tomatoes are starting to turn red. There's one that's turning red there, so that's nice to see. There are several blooms where it's blooming still, and there's a few green ones still there. So the sun, and right over here, actually, let me say this first. This is the potatoes she planted. We've never grown potatoes in here, so we're going to see how it works. And we have grown potatoes in a barrel in the back of the greenhouse, and they grew fine and produced fine, but we're going to grow them down here and just see how that works. We did talk about doing the back to Eden garden, you know, kind of wood chip thing that's working so well in our garden outside. We talked about doing that in here because that would help seal the water, and then maybe we wouldn't have to water so much. We're watering every 2 to 3 days, and that's keeping the plants happy. But we're wondering about putting wood chips that wouldn't seal the water, and so if we're gone for a week or 2 weeks, you know, we don't have to have somebody come water. The disadvantage to that is if you're layering like you do with wood chips, and you're layering your manure on top for nutrition for the plants, you still have to water the top of it to wash those nutrients down through the wood chips and get it to the soil. And so we've got a bunch of chicken manure, we've got a bunch of horse manure and cow manure from some of our friends, so that's really nice to have. And we're talking about just layering it and just trying that out to see if that doesn't work. As far as the systems go, though, you know, it seems to be working well. The water, the tanks, you know, we fill up every couple months, and then the water, of course, comes in. We can check the level here. We can turn it on and see how full the tanks are, how empty they are. This is what Dawn uses to water. We just flip the switch on here and that powers the pump. The pump, of course, is down here if you watch my other videos, with some solar batteries and 2 solar panels on the outside that keep those charged. And those have been in here almost 2 years and they're working just as good as they did before. So it's nice to have running water. You know, she can wash her hands or wash her tools off or fill a pot with a little bit of water. And otherwise we just keep the switch flipped off. Oh, and look, there's a ladybug. They're not super active right now, obviously, because it's cool. But when the sun comes out later in the day, because the storm's supposed to blow by, they'll get much more active. Okay, guys, I just want to update you and let you know that it's still working. I haven't been making a lot of videos on this because we haven't been doing much to it, obviously. It's just doing the business. It's doing the job for us that we wanted it to do. And so we're so excited about being able to come out here in the dead of winter where it's green and warm and it's nice, because sometimes I'll be working outside and I just feel like I need to come in here for a few minutes and get recharged. You know, it'll be cold outside or blowing or even not that cold, and I'll just want to come in here and breathe the humidity because it's humid in here and it's warm and it feels good. And you know, it might be 20 degrees and I'm working outside doing stuff, and I'll come in here and it's 75 or 80 and I'll just sit in here for 10 minutes and just soak up the heat and walk around and look at the plants and touch the plants and, you know, and see green stuff. And it's so good for your soul and your mind to be able to do this in winter, because part of the thing about being in winter where things die or turn brown, you know, they go dormant, is you don't get to see green stuff. And to be able to come in here and see green stuff, it's just recharging. And I'll come out here for 10 minutes, even if I'm not helping Dawn water or I'm not doing anything, I'll just come out here and just get recharged. And of course, when Dawn comes out, she says, I'm gonna go water the greenhouse. I'll drop what I'm doing a lot of times and just come out here and hang out with her. And we'll just sit here and talk and spend 15 or 20 minutes while she waters and just talk about plants or talk about life or talk about work or whatever. And it's just almost like we're getting plugged back in when we come out here. So the benefits of this are, yeah, you can grow year round. Yes, that's awesome. Even in really cold places like in southern Colorado where it gets very, very cold here. And for a month, it doesn't get above freezing, right? In January at all. It doesn't get above freezing at all. So day or night. So, and things are still green out here. We can still come out here and get warm. So, you know, that's the big benefit, is we can grow green stuff year round. That's awesome. We can get starter plants started sooner. That's awesome. But just what it does psychologically for us we didn't know this was going to be one of the side effects, but this is an unintended consequence of how good it is for us to just come out here and get recharged. So if you're thinking about doing this, there's a lot of benefits, and some of them go beyond just food. And I just thought that was pretty cool. Okay, well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.